It's K Area, the K Area podcast. And actually, we're thinking of changing our name to Kpopcast just purely for SEO reasons. So we didn't really have much brand equity around K Area. And it was originally for the Bay Area. So I think we're changing it to Kpopcast moving forward. If you guys think that's a really bad idea, let us know and we'll change it. But I think we have a shot at changing our name to the Kpop podcast. So speaking of the podcast, this is DJ Peter Lowe, and I'm joined by Angie Mills.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And Soupermatic.
What's up? What's up?
So Soupermatic, what do we have on the show for today?
All right. Well, you are going to be playing a very specific intro song for us, which will lead us into our K-popularities and controversies. We've got another awesome Daebak or Not segment for you. We'll be taking a look at the hot new Trinity Bermuda Triangle. And then we'll be announcing some year-end categories that you listeners can help us out with, as well as ending on a Christmas note because the holiday season's coming up. So let's go ahead and get right to it. Peter Lowe.
All right. And Blackjack's Try Not to Cry.
내가 제일 잘 나가. We gotta stay together. Just you and I. Don't stop the music. 모두 박수 쳐. 빠빠 박수 쳐. Very 빠빠. Scream hate you. Let's go party. Come on, lollipop. Kick. Get the fire. 'Cause I don't think I'm ugly. Go away. Can't nobody. Please, pretty please, boy, please, go. Baby boy, 왜 항상 할 말이 그리 많아 답답한 baby boy. 사랑을 날 고백할 건 알아. I'm not a baby girl. 네 생각보다 눈치가 난 빨라. 매일 항상 제자리를 돌아 도대체 왜 날 그렇게도 몰라. 어리다고 날 쉽게 받아 흠껏 다 즐겨. 순간 네 맘을 뱉는 건 쉬워 like 1, 2, 3, 4. 이제 좀 더 솔직하게 장난은 제발 그만해. 이건 시간 문제야 boy. Stop and make it mine. 하필 또 비는 내려와. 내 모습 초라해지게 날 위로하지는 마. 이 손 치워 이제 남이니까. We don't go. 내 곁에 stay. 오늘 밤만은 혼자 있기 싫어. Yes, let's go party. Work that body. 아름다운 이 밤이 너와 나를 부를 때. 가끔씩 술에 취해 전화 걸어. 지금은 새벽 5시 반. 넌 또 다른 여자 이름을 불러. 날 사로잡은 밤 21. 날 사로잡은 밤 We're 21. Oh lollipop 널 만날 이유 없어. 너 같은 남잔 이 세상에 따위 없어. 재수 없어. 단점을 셀 수 없어. 참으면 사랑하기 시간이 너무 아까워. Hate you. 거울에 비춰진 내 모습처럼 그대도 눈물 흘리고 있다면 oh yeah. 단 한 번 내 생각한 적 있다면 지금 달려와 날 안아줄래. 지금 멈추려 하지마. Ooh that fire 내 머릿속을 boom boom boom. I gotta drop like it's hot. 멈추려 하지마. 너의 입을 지우려고 해. 너의
So yeah, that was 2NE1, and for those of you who don't know, I'm kind of a 2NE1 blackjack. And the TLDR, if maybe you haven't been on the internet for the past week or so, it's been formalized. It's been announced that they're no longer together.
Boo.
Yeah.
QQTT.
Makes you go like TT, Matt?
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah. So I think we had maybe seen this coming for a while now. Minji recently broke up from the group. And they performed last year at the Mama Awards.
Yeah.
And that was the last performance we saw from them. But since then, we haven't seen anything new. And CL was doing her US tour.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of questions in terms of like what's going on with 2NE1, and it seemed like they're committed at least to producing an album for a while, but that never came through. As it's been formalized just this week, CL, she tweeted out a sort of a letter giving her background on why this came to be. It wasn't her intention, but giving showing all the work that she had been doing to try to keep 2NE1 going. And Sandra Park also tweeted out, Instagrammed a letter, basically composing all the different 2NE1 song names as a sort of heartfelt goodbye.
Yep.
So what do we think of this?
I'm like, even though, as you said, we could kind of see it coming, I'm a little heartbroken that it actually happened. I was hoping that our fears would be unfounded. But as a 2NE1 fan as well, I mean, there was a time where I definitely considered myself a blackjack, but then I kind of fell off of 2NE1 for a while, so I like kind of demoted myself off of my blackjack card.
Yeah.
But I mean, 2NE1 definitely has a legacy. They are undeniably some of the queens of K-pop.
Mm-hmm.
This is just really heartbreaking, not just for blackjacks or 2NE1 fans, but just for K-pop in general. Because when you think of K-pop and the rise of K-pop here in the U.S., 2NE1 was definitely at the forefront of that.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know, it's sad.
Well, the MTV did, I don't remember what year it was, but they did rate them the best band in the world. I think that was like 2012 or
It was Iggy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they performed in Times Square. I was actually there for that.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. But I think it was around 2012, 2013, if I remember clearly. And they were getting just so much international notice. And I think that the Mama Awards last year gave us hope.
Yep.
We thought that they were going to come back because they did do that comeback stage. And unfortunately, it just fell much deeper after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the big red flag for everyone was when Minji left, right? When that was formalized. And there was some question in terms of like how that was handled, right? I remember hearing that Minji's dad was really upset by the entire process and felt like the whole truth wasn't being disclosed. So I think maybe we all kind of saw it coming from that point on. Yeah,
I think that we all saw this coming, but we were hoping for one more comeback before they disbanded. And according to CL's note to fans, she did write that all summer long we were working on our album, but it fell apart. Kind of a vague and a message that leaves us wanting to know what exactly happened here.
I mean, their contracts were set to expire, right? I mean, was that part of the equation?
Well, actually, when Minji left, they had originally stated, I believe, that everyone else was going to stay with YG, but it was just announced that Baum actually didn't sign on to YG again and hasn't been signed to YG since May.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where Dara and CL both have been. So it's kind of interesting. It's like, well, how long have they known? Mm-hmm. And why wait till now to make it official? Yeah.
I mean, that sort of explains why Sandra was, joining CL for part of her tour, right? So I don't know. I mean, what's Park Bum gonna do? at this point. I mean, do we know what her future plans are?
I'm not sure, but she did put on her Instagram a video of her practicing, and then she wrote something like that she's practicing really hard and look out for her solo song. She wants it to be perfect for everyone. So she has been writing and practicing. Whether that's going to be on YG or through another label, I'm not sure. But hopefully we do get to hear from her, because although she did have the big drug scandal, international fans weren't upset about it.
Yeah.
We looked past it. We didn't care too much. We just wanted her to be back into the scene and singing again.
Yeah, I think maybe for some of us Westerner fans, it's like, okay, you're a real star now. You got your own sort of like drug-related scandal. So, not saying that needs to be the case, guys. I don't feel like that. Yeah.
It just kind of seems to be the modern standard that if you can have a scandal and then rise above it and come back even stronger, then yeah, you're a bona fide star.
Yeah, exactly.
For me, it's a little disheartening because I know that we keep bringing up the Mama performance, which was a nice surprise in itself, because everyone thought it was just going to be CL, by herself. She was doing her Hello Bitches song and stuff like that. And all of a sudden we saw the reunion of 21. So that was the first sign of, maybe 21's coming back soon.
I think people were really pleased by that surprise.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Because it was all four of them again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then to follow that up, it couldn't have been a little more than a month ago, Peter, where we had CL here in SF, right?
That's
for the concert.
Yeah.
And at her concert during her tour, which is still in progress right now, she's been introducing herself as CL of 2NE1.
Right.
So even up until as early as about a month ago or even a few weeks ago, she was still, or at least by that indication, she was still hopeful of a 2NE1 comeback. So,
yeah, that's very true. And she also did the interview with Time, a magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And in that interview, she also states that she's in a band called 2NE1. And it's kind of funny because if you see Twitter, they've kind of re-edited that video to have her hesitate when she's like, I'm in 21, and then it was I was in 21, but yeah, she had been saying that she was with them until very recently. So what is going on, YG Papa? We want to know. If you did go ahead and read Dara and CL's letters online, they're so sad, and you could really see a lot of blackjacks out there on the internet crying together.
Yeah, definitely.
And what was beautiful about both of their letters is that they incorporated Minji in it. They're like the four of us, this is 2NE1. And in the past, Minji wasn't really talked about, and Minji also didn't talk about the other members. There was kind of an awkward silence there, and it seemed like they weren't friends anymore, but it's really good to see that they're acknowledging her in their goodbye letters. But Dara said something like, November of 2016 will be remembered as the most lonely winter of all.
Oh, that's harsh.
Isn't it? So how can us blackjacks not cry when you have members saying things like that?
Yeah.
It's just heartbreaking.
Yeah. I mean, all groups have to end at some point, right? I mean, unless you keep cycling out the band of members, it's it needs to come to an end at some point. I guess the question was this premature? And I think a lot of us are feeling that way.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if premature, but I feel like the last 2 years, they had so much potential to do so much more, but they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And so the amount of time seems right, but the amount of production and content doesn't. Mm-hmm. They really could have done a lot more as a group.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, with Bum's scandal and then the focus being shift to CL's solo career, it just didn't happen.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to imagine, if I were Papa YG, right, and I'm forced to put in this trade-off, right, between taking a chance in terms of breaking into the American market and delaying the Korean effort, right, in terms of putting out another album, mainly for the K-pop crowd. Which do you choose? I mean, I think a lot of Westerners, had hope that, or still have hope that YG groups have a high chance of making it in the US market. So I don't know. Like, was it the right decision for YG to, try to make this trade-off between CL and making an American debut and not focusing as much on the K-pop emphasis for 21?
Yeah, definitely. And also on the YG website, some mysterious things have been happening. I don't know if you guys have heard. So originally there was a note talking about 21's, end, and the note disappeared.
Yep.
And 21 was taken off the website and then put back on.
When did this happen?
Yesterday, 24 hours ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So the 28th of November. So what is he doing?
I don't know. Part of me wants to say that's probably an administrative mistake, but who knows? Working in PR, sometimes like the PR team will have a plan for launching or unveiling news, and then the web team will accidentally do it like ahead of the embargo date. So I don't know. It could be that they just didn't time their administrative changes on the website.
Well, not to be that guy, but I am going to be that guy.
Go for it.
This is YG we're talking about here, and just the timing of everything happening is a little too. I'm not sure what the word is, but it's just like it's something that we can't gloss over because we're going to cover on the other major YG news with Taehyun and Winner in a bit, but within as little as about a week ago or two, YG gave an interview where he said he's very well aware of fans' frustrations with how he manages his artists, and he said he was going to try to get better about that. And then all of a sudden, we have what's happening with 21 and what's happening with Winner, and it's like, YG, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, how many running jokes are there with YG and his management or mismanagement of artists? I mean, there's a joke about the YG dungeon.
Yeah.
Right. There's a joke about, here's a comeback, and then nothing else, just concerts. That's it.
Yeah.
He's been known as a troll.
Mm-hmm.
YG troll.
I mean, at least for Americans, there was the Thanksgiving holiday, right? And it was closely aligned with that holiday where I think a lot of us are, peacing out. I don't know if that was done to mitigate the attention to it. I don't know if that was any part of the calculation or strategy.
That would be a good move possibly, but I was trying to enjoy Thanksgiving weekend, and I
right.
just pick up my phone for a second, and it's all this news at once, and I was like, no, we're supposed to be celebrating. This is terrible.
Yeah. So for a lot of the Western or American fans of K-pop, I think 21 was the gateway, right? I think they debuted in 2009.
2009.
Is that right? Yeah. And they were part of that first big wave of the girl group hype. And maybe that's why there's a lot of emotional attachment to this, because there's a lot of nostalgia involved. It's this is what brought me into K-pop, and I associate, positive feelings of getting into K-pop with this group. I don't know. Maybe that's I'm just me speculating on maybe why it's hitting so many Westerner K-pop fans so hard.
I could agree with that. Yeah. As I said before, I got into K-pop earlier, but 2009 was considered a magical year for K-pop. Mm-hmm. And there's no doubt that 21 was part of that magic that happened. I mean, for me, that was when they released their best music.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't like their later stuff, but I really loved how much energy and girl power messages they had in their first album, in their first mini album. And so for me, those were their best songs.
Yeah. It's also kind of hard to match 21's legacy because, as you said, Angie, in their early years from debut to maybe 2 or 3 years after that, at that time too, where K-pop kind of still had a standard formula, they still have a standard formula today, where a lot of girl groups were pretty much almost borderline the same. 21 had a distinctive ID, they were their own brand, their own image, their own style. So now that they're gone, I mean, it's still kind of early. We can't necessarily say that Blackpink will fill that void, but
right.
We don't. As of right now, we don't really have another girl group in K-pop that is able to kind of even be equated to what 2NE1 was.
I definitely associate girl power right? With a big part of that brand and that identity for the group. And that's what made me a Blackjack originally, actually, because it was such a, progressive image in K-pop that I really liked and I can get behind. That wasn't all aegyo all the time.
Right.
So, I feel like we've seen other people sort of scrape at the edge of that brand in terms of trying to capture that same sort of movement. I feel like Miss A came out not too long afterward, kind of not exactly the same. I think a little more PC, a little more friendly, but also trying to be very empowering. And then we've seen other Brown Eyed Girls were also kind of like that, but in a much more darker way. So I don't know if there was any what qualities are now in this void that other groups will need to fill.
Yeah, there have been a lot of other groups that have had similar concepts, but they haven't had the same impact.
Right.
So yeah, there have been a lot of girl power themes and girl power groups, but it hasn't had the same impact as 21 did at that time because groups were all cookie cutter and aegyo at that time. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know what kind of theme would match that today. Blackpink is definitely in that direction. And I love Blackpink and I love everything they're doing.
Yeah.
But it's not the same impact.
Right. Yeah. When Blackpink came out, I kind of thought is this 2NE1 part 2?
Yeah.
Baby 21.
Yeah.
And to each group's credit, they are different from each other. I think they are in the same spirit, I think, of each other. So,
and fans are speculating online that the album that didn't get finished might turn into Blackpink songs, or the melodies or the lyrics might end up in Blackpink albums later on. And that does seem very, likely considering YG and his label.
What would you, if you had the choice, Angie, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got all these songs, these B-sides, right?
Right.
Like what would you do with them? You're Teddy Park, right? And you're like,
yeah.
who do I want these songs to go to?
It's a tough choice. It'd be great to see like a special album, dedicated to 21. But if that's just something that they can't agree on, then why let good music go to waste? Send it off to Blackpink.
Yeah.
They've just got started. They have so much potential and their fan base is already insane.
Yeah.
So at this point, why not give it to them?
Yeah. Whenever you're within one label, you kind of wonder, was this song meant for this other group, but this group stole it? And if it means empowering Blackpink with better songs, better singles, then I'm all for it. And that might be the more long-term strategic move by YG to, okay, well, 21 is gone, so I need to strengthen this image for this other group that's going to be with me longer. So, that I'm not saying that that's morally the right thing or necessarily what the Blackjack fans want, but I think if I was in his position, I might have to make that tough choice.
Right, because otherwise the songs might just go to waste.
Right.
No one will ever hear them.
Right.
Personally speaking, just as a former Blackjack, but definitely I've always been a 2NE1 fan. I just I don't even know if they're ever going to hear this, but I want to thank 2NE1 for what they've done. CL, Dara, Park Bom, Minzy, the legacy they've left is undeniable. They left plenty of us K-pop fans with a lot of good memories, and like I said earlier, they're pretty much are a huge part of the responsibility for K-pop being as big as it is now. You said it, Angie. 2009 was a magical year, and I just hope that even though now they are officially done, we'll probably still see something from them. CL is still working hard on her solo stuff. Maybe we'll see something from the other members. I don't know, but to stay positive in light of all this negative news, I'd rather prefer to just go ahead and look back on all the things that 2NE1 gave us that we can look back on and cherish.
Definitely, and yeah, thank you. I'd like to say thank you to them too, and I look forward to their solo music.
Maybe one last note. Your favorite song by 2NE1?
Can't Nobody, and I actually have two, and then Clap Your Hands. Baksuja. Yep.
That's kind of hard. I like a lot of their music, but if I'm going to have to pick a favorite, it would probably be a tie between Fire, because that is such a great debut.
Yeah.
But also I Am the Best, just because when I think of 2NE1, that's that's what I think of.
Yeah. I am the best. I am a blackjack, guys. For the record, like I love 21. Like 21 was like, the fandom I was always trained for throughout my indulgence in K-pop. But I am the best. I feel like was just a little overplayed and not quite. I'm sorry. I shouldn't even go there. I shouldn't have brought it up. It's still a great song. I play it all the time. But my favorite is Can't Nobody.
Yeah.
And I guess my runner-up would be what is it? Go Away. There we go. Go Away.
Yeah.
So
those are great picks.
Although I will say they also, surprisingly for a group like 21, they have one of my favorite overall K-pop ballads, which is
It Hurts.
Lonely.
Oh, Lonely. See, I'm a fan of it. It Hurts. Older.
That's a good
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
내가 준 신발을 신고 그녀와 길을 걷고 아무렇지 않게 그녀와 키스하고 내가 준 향수 뿌리고 그녀를 품에 안고 나와 했던 그 약속 또 다시 하겠죠 우린 이미 늦었나봐요 우리 사랑 끝난 건가요 아무 말이라도 좀 내게 해줘요 우리 정말 사랑했잖아 되돌릴 순 없는 건가요 오늘 밤 난 많이 아파요
Okay. So, Soupermatic.
Yes.
Who else has been cast out of the YG dungeon?
Oh, and more sad news. And this is also like a little sadder considering that this is a more new group. So for those who are not familiar, YG has a boy group to their label named Winner, which is actually already 2 or 3 years removed from their debut. Winner is composed of, they were composed of 5 young men who won the TV show known as Win, Who Is Next. And it was basically a survival or an idol survival show that YG was using to create his next boy group to follow in the footsteps of Big Bang. And one of the members that was part of that winning crew, Taehyun, has been going through some personal demons lately, and fans were hoping for the best, but unfortunately that's not how things ended. Long story short, he is no longer part of the group. It was the news was broken a few days ago that he was leaving and that Winner was going to continue on as a 4-member group. This one on top of the 21 breakup is just, it screams of fans going, YG, what the hell are you doing? Because the controversy here with what's going on with Taehyun and Winner as well is that no less than a day after it was announced that Taehyun would be leaving, Winner's official Facebook changed their cover photo, and it wasn't even a new photo. It was their debut photo, photoshopped without Taehyun.
Oh, that was.
And this was this was less than a day after his departure was announced. So people are just
not have the effect that they thought it would.
Yeah, there was a lot of backlash, and the thing is that Taehyun leaving Winner, I think it was pretty much announced within the same day as the 21 breakup. So just bad news after bad news regarding these two groups under the YG label. And it's even sadder considering that, or at least the statement that's been released that actually, I don't know if it came out today or yesterday, but I found it online shortly before we came on the air, that Taehyun released a statement and that it was a mutual decision for him to leave because he felt personally responsible that him having these personal issues of like mental health issues and anxiety and different disorders was the reason why Winner's comeback has been delayed so many times. I mean, between their debut and then their next album after that, it was 18 months. And a lot of that was attributed or at least speculated to mainly Taehyun struggling because he's been struggling with like these mental health issues ever since he was a teenager. And it apparently was just compounded after he became an idol and was in the public eye now. So this extra pressure to be successful and to maintain that K-pop idol image, it just wasn't a good time for him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm curious to hear what both of you guys think. I don't know how familiar either of you are with Winner. I mean, I kind of followed them because I watched the show Win up until their formation, but after their debut, I kind of fell off of the Winner track. So, I mean, this news caught me by surprise too, because it's, like I said, it's sad because they're still a new group that had so much potential, and already they're going through this struggle.
Yeah. I mean, usually for me, like just as a public relations professional, usually you try lumping all the bad items together and you try to give it all in one go rather than leaking it out slowly. So you don't have each news cycle around each small little trivial thing. And then so you just be like, here it all is. Eat it all up. Now let's move on, right?
Here's all your vegetables. You'll get your dessert after you digest.
Sure. But I mean, usually like that's what you try to do. You just try to like put out all the facts, put out all the details, and then you just move on from there. And you also provide the statement on what you're doing to move on from there, right? So you outline everything, and then ideally you have nothing more to say about it ever again. I mean, maybe that's what YG was trying to do, lumping 21 and Winner together, but I don't know, it's peculiar timing.
Winner had a lot of hype when they first came out, and I was also on that hype train. I was really excited for Winner. They're all so talented, but for me, their songs don't quite cut it. I don't know what it is about their songs. They just don't appeal to me as much as other YG artists, although I do think that they're all very talented and I like them as individuals. But poor Taehyun, because he has had scandal after scandal while being in Winner. Originally, there were people online saying that when he was a teenager, he was a huge bully. And
I remember that.
Yeah, it was people were petitioning for him to leave, and there was all this information they were trying to get out there, but in the end they really couldn't find any proof to back that up. But I think his image had already been damaged a bit from that. And then more recently was his scandal, which isn't too much of a scandal, but it kind of is, especially in Korea, with his actress. With his friend, the actress Jung Ryo-won, who apparently them two were dating, but she's 13 years older than him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
get
like
it, boy.
almost 15 years older than him. And so there was also a lot of speculation going on around that. Like, what is he doing with someone 15 years older than him? So he did have scandal after scandal within Winner, and you didn't really hear much about the other members besides Mino, which is just does so much solo work and was also on Show Me the Money and gets a lot of attention. So Winner has had a tough time in my opinion, and Taehyun has also had a tough time in my opinion. And I don't know how they're going to recover from this.
Yeah.
Everyone is upset that they removed Taehyun from the banner within 24 hours, and they don't seem to. It doesn't seem like you can win over fans by fixing that at all. There's just so much going on here, and it's so early in their career. I mean, they've been out for 2 years, and they haven't had that many comebacks.
Right.
But there's also the issue of Taehyun's mental health.
Yep.
They haven't released too much information on what exactly is going on with it, but it definitely is a serious issue that they needed to consider. And I think it's kind of confusing because he's dealt with these issues for so long. And I think that they would have had to known about them. And so it would be really interesting to learn more about this situation and what exactly happened between both parties. But I do feel bad for Winner if they weren't able to put out content because of Taehyun alone. That would really suck.
Yeah.
And at this point, I hope that they can come back, but there's a lot of damage here.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, pardon me for being like really pragmatic and I don't know, too practical about this, but like, could they do something like 2 p.m. like how J Park kind of departed and they had this? I don't know. I thought they played off of it pretty well, honestly, in terms of like, oh, we're coming back with this heartbreaking heartbeat song.
Yeah. But Winner hasn't had the success
That's true.
that 2 p.m. had at that time.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah. to some extent, we may never really know. I mean, we're not in it. We're not in the group. We're not in YG, so we're not in that dungeon. So we don't know. We don't know the intricacies and nuances between what led to this decision. But if it is that he is suffering mental health issues, like I think for me, I was like a Westerner fan. I'm like, take all the time you need, boy. Like, get your stuff sorted out, and we're not going to hold it against you.
Yeah, I really hope that he gets the help that he needs and can recover and maybe come back as a solo artist. And if he finds out that being an idol isn't for him, I'm sure he'll live a happy life doing whatever he wants to do.
Yeah, it's just a shame, though, because Taehyun definitely is talented.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, too, I mean, talent doesn't mean as much as your own personal well-being. And it just, I'm just wishing for the best for him. I mean, the article that I found today, which was the most up-to-date as far as I know, says that he is still currently receiving treatment and therapy, and he's getting all the assistance that he can to help him with his issues. The fact that he's only 22 already, which means that he was, 18 or 19 at Winner's debut? He was probably 18 during the show. And it's stressful enough competing on an idol survival show because you're trying your hardest to make it to the top so you can debut with this group. I can't imagine the toll this is taking on him, like mentally, physically, just overall. But I'm hoping he can come out of this better.
Yeah, definitely. And I think this also just brings mental health awareness to the K-pop community. And I think that's so important because there are probably lots of other idols out there dealing with mental health issues.
Sure. Yeah.
Especially with all the things that they go through as idols. And I hope that it's something that's more talked about and is more respected and understood in the community, and that there's more awareness for it.
Yeah. I guess maybe as fans, the best thing we can do is that we can say that we're being supportive of this move. And that way, we can illustrate, at least to the labels, the internal decision makers that like, if this person needs to go on a hiatus so that this group can continue and this person can get better and have an authentic comeback, then that can work. And as fans, we just need to demonstrate that that's possible.
Yeah, so we're definitely rooting for you, Taehyun.
Mm-hmm.
So get better and come back.
Like J Park.
Like, if I may just relate it with a quote that one of my friends actually tells me all the time whenever I talk to him. He's actually one of my go-tos for advice. He says that nothing is ever over unless you let it be, but it's not really over until you win. So, Taehyun, your fight's not over until you win. So please win, buddy.
Yeah, definitely. That's great advice.
And now it's time for Daebak or not. And what song are we reviewing this week, Soupermatic?
We are taking a journey into the Bermuda Triangle, this hot anticipated collab between Zico of Block B, Dean, and Crush. And for those who don't know, Zico from Block B is one of the hardest working men in all of K-pop today. He's a rapper, he's a producer. Dean is a multifaceted and highly sought after singer within the K-pop industry. He's sought after for so many collabs. And Crush, you might be familiar from his old duo Crush and Zion T, who are pretty much two of the biggest names when it comes to K-hip-hop. So this collab was definitely hotly anticipated, and Bermuda Triangle is it's a really straight up hip hop song and MV.
눈을 자를 제대로 보고 누워야지 Sharp fake bitches tryna act like me 앉아서 멍만 때렸던 내 sofa 위에서 몰라 we gon' pull up 멀다 숨을 죽여 상쾌한 머리 위에 공기 no Nobody can come over here.
Okay, So every week we take a look at whether a song is Daebak or not. We started off by looking at the audio, and we give it a 1 to 5 score. And the audio encompasses like the song, what we thought of the music. It's auditory qualities.
And then we take a look at the concept, which is pretty much looking at everything from the music video, the aesthetic of the song, what the message is, the whole idea behind the song or the comeback, what it is that the artist is trying to convey or what the story is.
Then we consider all of those things and give it an overall score to see if we think if it's Daebak or not. Basically, if it's awesome.
All right, so hopefully this can help you navigate through this Bermuda Triangle. Okay, I'm removing my
Peter with the dad jokes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so let's kick it off with the audio. Matt, I'll let you begin. In terms of
Yeah,
what you
sure,
thought.
absolutely. All right, so for me, I had to listen to the song a few times to let it grow on me, but even just from the first listen, what I noticed right away, what stuck out to me, was Dean with the opening line.
Yeah.
He's got such a recognizable sound with his smooth delivery, and of course that line that just stays stuck in your head. Don't let him get in my zone. Like that catches in your head right away. If you remember nothing else about the song, you'll remember Dean saying that. The instrumental of the song itself is pretty interesting to me. It's nice and simple enough. It's straight up hip hop, like I said. It's got a keyboard riff for when Dean opens the song, and then once Zico starts rapping, it's followed with this nice heavy bass with some snares and kicks and other interesting sounds sprinkled in between.
Yep.
Definitely sounds like a modern hip hop and rap song.
Yeah.
Each of the three members they excel in each of their own areas when they are given the chance to. Although I will admit, one of the things that I noticed, especially after listening to the song over and over, the transitions between each of the three members is a little rough. Sometimes they're abrupt. It's like they do their verse and then it just stops. The music stops and then continues to the next member. It sounded to me like I was listening to 3 separate recordings. So basically Dean, Zico, and Crush, as if they all like individually recorded their own verses over the same instrumental and then they were spliced together.
Yeah, and that could have been done together in post-production. I'm trying to remember, well, like with other, let's say other top 40 rap songs. I mean, do you feel that same way? Like, I'm trying to think of like something we'd hear from like,
It
E40.
depends. I mean, I've listened to quite a few songs and it's very possible.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily saying it as a bad thing. It's just one thing that I can notice that kind of stuck out to me about the song.
Yeah.
What is interesting to note for me, at least, I didn't notice this at first, is that there doesn't really seem to be a specific chorus. It's just the verses and from Zico. There's the bridges from Crush, who absolutely kills it, by the way. And then there's, of course, the opening and closing lines from Dean. And Dean closes the song out, repeating the same verse that he says from the opening, so it stays stuck in your head again. Don't let him get in my zone. So at least by the end of the song, what they're trying to do, which I feel like they do accomplish, is leaving that impression in your head. Like, you'll remember at least part of the song. I would definitely listen to this song if it came up on a playlist or someone else requested to put it on, but I don't know if it would be my own personal go-to choice. I would have liked to, maybe this is my own personal taste speaking, I wanted to see a little more cohesiveness between the three members. Maybe a section or two where like Zico and Crush go back and forth, rapping or singing, instead of just the verses being purely Zico and then, okay, bridge time, Crush. Oh, opening ending time, here you go, Dean. I would have liked at least a little more direct exchange between the three artists. So with all that considered, I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad song. In fact, I like it. It's a good song in my opinion overall. It's enjoyable. I gave it a score of a 3.5 for the audio.
Oh, okay.
Not bad.
Yeah.
So when I first heard about this collaboration, I was super excited. I am a huge Dean fan. Crush just kills everything he does. And Zico, how can you not respect him as an artist? I mean, he does everything. He's so young and he just produces magic. Like I don't know if he ever sleeps, honestly. And he's one of K-pop's like highest money maker because of all the production work that he does. So when I heard these three were going to come together for a song, I was super excited. I'm not particularly a fan of Block B. I'm sorry for everyone out there. I'm not particularly a fan of their songs, but I love Zico's solo work. So I thought for me that this was going to just like really bring me in. But just like Soupermatic said, it took a few times for me to really get into it. Yeah. One thing that I was hooked onto right away was Dean. As soon as he starts singing, I'm like, okay, you have my attention. Like I'm not paying attention to anything else in the room because Dean's voice is just so interesting and he really knows how to captivate an audience. And I really loved that that beginning and the ending from him.
At the ending, yeah.
Yeah, it's great how it does that. But I do also agree with you that it kind of sounds like 3 different songs here. It's kind of a rough transition in between all 3 of those. And I like a combination of R&B and hip hop and like, you know, going fast and then slowing it up. And Zico has that part at the end where he just stops. And then it's a few seconds, and then I think Crush starts back up. Yeah. And I really like that part. But for me, Zico's first rap doesn't transition that great. And it's kind of awkward for me. I don't know how to explain it, but I kind of wish it was more of a smoother intro into Zico's rap.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff in the middle that I like from Zico, and I kind of wish that they would have mixed up the lyrics and their placement a bit.
Yeah.
And I think it would have been a smoother song.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, and Crush, I mean, his part is also great. I actually can't decide whose part I like better, Dean or Crush, because they're both just bringing it so much. But it does seem like they're in 2 different songs. If I were to listen to those 2 different parts, I don't know if I would, like separately, I don't know if I would like realize that they're in the same song. But I do love the idea of these 3 working together and their combination. And I hope that they'll do another song together and maybe pick up some of the areas that lacked a little bit in this song. Maybe I'm giving it, like giving them a hard time for a bit of this song. But I do like it. It just takes a while for me to get there. It's not something that I liked right away. And with these 3 big names, I thought that it would be something that would just hit me and I'd be like drawn in right away. But that wasn't the case for this.
It was the same thing with me. Like, I mean, I don't follow each of these members that I don't think to the extent that you guys do. So it did take me a while to warm up to it, but when I warmed up to it, I really did.
Oh no, yeah, and I think it's gonna get there for me. Like I like it, but I don't love it yet, and I'm kind of playing around with it to see if I'm gonna get to that place where I love it, because it's kind of hard to convince me to be obsessed with songs. But once I'm obsessed, I have it like on replay for like 3 hours straight. And like this might be that song. I'm in my car and I'm like, just jamming along to it. But who knows? I'm not quite there yet. I did find myself when I was trying to score the audio going back and forth a lot and then like erasing it. And then 20 minutes later being like, oh, I'm going to go a little bit higher. So, my score for the audio of this song is a 3, but it might get up to a 3.5, to match yours by next week. Who knows?
Yeah. Fair critiques, I think, from both of you. I'm just going to say, like, this song was sonically my thing. Like, I totally rocked out to this.
Oh, yeah?
I brought new profound meaning to, like, white boy liking, like, suburban white boy liking gangsta music. And that's what this was for me. Like, I'm one of those people who, like, turn up, like, DJ Mustard songs like in the parking lot in my car and like get totally crunk, and then someone will walk by and was like, is that white guy actually doing what I think he's doing to that song? That was me to this song, and I was totally doing it on the way to pick you up today, Matt. I was like yeah, in rush hour traffic. On that note, it does sound like a lot of, I mean, Zico, if it was his intention to follow in the same spirit or copy is probably a bad word, maybe emulate or carry on the feeling that we hear from a lot of rap in top 40. I think he did it well. And what's interesting is that it's very stripped down, right? In terms of the instrumentality, right? The instruments, it's like, it meets the cliches. You've got like a single piano note, like on reverb, on a loop, like, or 3 piano notes that you play over and over, and maybe like simple strings that you kind of loop, and that's it, right? For like the harmony, and then followed by a strong booming bass and lots of fun percussion that you layer in, and with a lot of reverb. And that was it. It was very stripped down, and I think my other idol and your friend Jeff Benjamin,
Yeah.
he wrote that, it's like, well, maybe this is the highlight, right?
Yeah,
the
right.
lyrics of each of these guys. And I think it's great, but it did it for me. And I could see myself dropping this song here in the Bay Area and people getting hyphy
Yeah.
to it. And that's what I went crunk in my car. I'm imagining other Bay Area people do it. Like I can see myself doing a top 40 set, playing like hip hop songs and then bringing this in for a Western crowd. And like maybe just for like one verse and then mixing out before they realize that it's not English that they're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
But like I think it could work. There's a thing that happens in a lot of top 40 music, especially in K-pop, where it's like it has different phrases and names for it, but it's like a producer shout out or a producer clip. And I mean, we hear it like Brave Sound or
Yeah.
JYP. And for this, I was almost expecting like Mike Willman or something like that. Something like from like, one of these like rap labels to come in because
Yeah.
Zico captured that feeling so well. Earlier we were talking about how, well, the transition between each rapper was kind of jarring, right? It's like da 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 and
Right.
da, da, da. And what I'm noticing, I guess, and maybe this is painful for me as a DJ because like you're trying to mix out of one verse and go into like another song, and you can't always do that because someone is talking over the end of the 8-bar. Like these rappers that go in a flow where it's like they try to complete a verse within like 8 counts usually, right? And then like at the end of the 8 counts, either you start a new verse or you have someone else come in. And I think what made for those smoother transitions with a lot of the top 40 rappers that we get is that the rapper like on the 6 or the 7 in that bar will start saying like what and then come in, right? So it kind of like leads into the voice of the next rapper in the queue. And I guess you didn't quite get that with this song, and maybe that's what was missing. But am I gonna hold it against these guys? I don't know. I still rocked out to it. So for me, 1 to 5, it's a 4.
Ooh.
Oh.
Nice.
I like, again, it's my inner white boy, suburban white boy who's rocking out to K-pop gangsta music. Really quick, Angie, I know we talked about this last time we were on the show. K-hip-hop?
Yeah.
Or would you call this like hip-hop, or what? How would you categorize this?
Yeah, I would just go with the hip hop. I mean, Block B has been under K-pop, but Zico, he really tries to stay away from that in his solo projects. And so I would just say this is a straight up hip hop. I mean, you've seen with other Zico songs, it's just really inspired by American hip hop music, what's modern, what's trendy. And he is so good at like capturing those vibes and bringing it over to Korea and producing really good hip hop music. And that's why it's kind of a shock for me, because like I'm all for hip hop and Korean hip hop, and it just felt a little short for me. When I feel like it shouldn't have, because I love these three. But they might change my mind. We'll see.
I think everything that you guys are saying, like even when it comes to like the chorus, the hook, like that didn't stay with me until like I listened to it, maybe too many times in rush hour traffic, and then I was like, I can see, another, song in top, Western, hip hop and rap being of having the same hook, same type of hook. So that's why I after a while I didn't mind it. It was like, at first I agreed, like the hook, there wasn't any, it was a long verse, but I did feel it over time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very fair.
Sorry. That's it for me on the audio. I'll shut up on that. Angie, what did you think of the concept?
Oh, so the concept is kind of fun. I mean, you have the Bermuda Triangle, the name of the song, and then you have these 3 just badass Korean performers.
The badass Trinity.
Yeah, and actually, I'm a fangirl. I mean, I wouldn't be doing this if I wasn't a fangirl. And there's that part where they're in the church and the 3 of them are just there, like all dressed up in the middle of the aisle. And I'm just like, oh.
The Holy Trinity.
The Holy Trinity. Yes. It's amazing. And I really loved that about the music video. That one part stood out to me the most. And I kind of wish there were more parts of them like in a little triangle, like throughout the video like that. Because that part for me was just amazing. And
It's funny because like in high school English, it's like, where's the symbolism, guys? Like, and this, like, you're saying it's like, well, I don't mind if they beat me over the head with it. It's like, layer it on.
Right. Give it to me more. Like, I loved seeing them three, like, just all dressed up and like right next to each other. And it was just so powerful. And
Yeah.
I really like that. And it's kind of funny that they came up with the Bermuda Triangle. Like, I would have liked to been there when they were trying to think of a name for this, It's like, okay, we're three people. We're badass. What else has three, and is badass,
Triangles.
triangles. Wait, no, that's lame. Okay, Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I'm sure that's exactly how it went down.
It probably is. You never know. But yeah, so I really like the idea of these three front runners in Korean hip hop. Working together and just getting in trouble. If you do follow the lyrics at all, there's like a bunch of things where they're just like, yeah, we're criminals. We criminal. They say something like that. And they do a good job of portraying that in this music video. And I just love the church theme. I mean, I grew up Catholic, and then so you have like the Holy Trinity and then them in like the church. Like, I'm eating it up. And there's another part where Zico, I actually read, he's like, these three stooges who became your favorite role model. And that made me laugh a lot because Zico, he always like looks super hardcore, like he's intimidating. He's an intimidating guy. And then his lyrics are just so silly sometimes, like, we're just three stooges, but guess what? We're your role models. So this is what you got, And so I really like the concept a lot.
It's so bad it's criminal.
Yeah, right.
But not bad meaning good, but bad, or not bad meaning bad, but bad meaning good, Okay, never
right.
Peter with that 21 reference.
Right.
Yeah, I'm loving the Dangerous Trio.
Mm-hmm.
There's a part, I think he says it in English, where it's like, we're yellow race, but I got black soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Black appropriation.
Yeah, right. But I did read also that black soul translates to something in Korean. Well, it's just written in Hangul, I guess. But it's used as like slang for whenever you're really good at something. Yeah.
Wow.
So, sorry, I like really dug deep into this because I like knowing like, phrases and where they come from and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But apparently, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but because Korea associates great music with black people, like great singers, great hip hop. If someone's a really good singer or rapper, they'll say you got black soul.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's actually like a phrase.
Yeah.
And so there's some argument whether if Zico was playing on words like on the Korean saying and just black soul, the
I'm willing
English
to give
meaning.
them that double entendre.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool too.
I wonder what if you're an African American black listener, tell us what you think of this, because I'm really curious. Like, is this appropriating or is this cool? So let us know.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, so for the concept, I'm gonna keep it even all around and give it a 3.
A 3
as well.
Yeah, for the concept.
For a concept.
Okay. All right. I'll go next. So we're copying, your favorite like rap hip hop songs for like American Western top 40, right? And I think we've checked several things off the list, right? In terms of like, well, we've got this same sort of like song structure, this verse rhyme rapping structure, the same instrumentality. When it comes to the concept, I think we also check a lot of similar boxes. So we've got money. We've got, I think it's funny. He's just like holding in the backseat of the car. Speaking of car, he's in a Rolls Royce.
Yep.
Right. So we've got money. We've got cars. But what are we missing, guys?
Women.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, that was the missing ingredient in this song, in this concept. So I needed more booty. I needed more naked women. And I think I didn't get. Okay, did I need it? No, but I think it would have completed the trinity for me. So
Maybe they didn't have the booty because they were at church.
it could be. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, this is Korea. You can't have. No, not here. Sorry.
Or maybe that was one way they're trying to differentiate themselves from the typical American hip hop.
Yeah, we don't need booty. Yeah.
Right?
No, actually, legitimately, that's a fair point because when you, especially like in gaming, like a lot of game developers will be like, well, like we don't need all this like gratuitous sex because that's just insulting to our game as a model, right? So it's like we're able to sell it without having, the titillating
factor.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll props to them. I like what you guys are saying. A lot of the symbolism. It's them, living it up, being criminal, and was it unique? No. I think it was not inspiring. When I think of other K-pop, rap groups who have done it well, I think of like GD and TOP. And I think of the concepts that they bring. I think it is very inspiring, very unique. And what these guys are doing, it's sort of copying a model, but not quite completely. That's not to say I don't hate it. And I think it's fine that they should, continue doing what they're doing. So I am also giving it a 3.
Nice.
All right, I guess this is where I come in.
Yeah.
All right, so for me, the concept, the first thing I noticed with watching the music video is that it's shot really well. Like, props to the cinematography.
Oh, sure.
Two scenes in particular that stand out to me. Of course, the church. Right? We're harping on it a lot, but with good reason.
Yeah.
But also the other scene is the quarry, I think it is, where they're like, where it's in the black and white and they're just walking. And one thing I realized too when I was thinking about it, you alluded to it earlier, Angie, like how like the whole concept of like a Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it, like watching the video. I've noticed that there are actually some like references, maybe not so subtle or subtle at all. Like there's a scene where they're in the Rolls Royce, and I think it's Crush is in the back seat, but he's in the middle between like Zico and Dean.
Yeah.
That's probably
And then of course they stand in a triangle in the Holy Trinity.
Yeah.
And even at the start when they're at the quarry, they're walking and it's in a triangle formation.
Yeah.
So they definitely they do keep to the theme of like them being the Bermuda Triangle or like the triangle shape. So props to them for that. And again, going back to the church, it is definitely full of like Holy Trinity references. I mean, not just with the three of them standing there and like how well dressed they are, but also like if you look in the back behind them, there's up top there's 3 stained glass windows. Then at the altar, there's 3 like artwork paintings. That's like a trifold that surrounds the altar. It's like just this overall symbolism of like a Holy Trinity. And I guess that's fair to say because Zico, Crush, and Dean, these are like 3 of the biggest names in K-pop that you know. So it pretty much is like the Holy Trinity of K-hip-hop and K-pop. It's funny to me because even though the concept doesn't like, or with the music video, it doesn't come out explicitly or maybe not as explicitly as people would like it.
Sure.
It's kind of, it's interesting to me because the vibe I got from watching it is like, oh, these 3 boys and their crew, they're living fast and furiously, but it's also kind of shady. Like Zico, he's going around these different places to the music video and just collecting money, and it's like he's throwing them in duffel bags.
His wealth?
Exactly, like it's kind of questionable, and
being
it was
a K-pop
also
star.
Exactly, and it's funny to me that you said earlier he's probably like one of the most money making.
That's what it is. He's so
K-pop.
bad. He's criminal, guys. So
I can't help but wonder is like maybe Zico knows and acknowledges that, so he's just kind of poking fun at the same time through this. Because where does all that money come from? I mean, he goes to a hotel room by himself, and instead of a regular bath, he showers himself in champagne. He fills the hot tub with golden champagne and wine.
Okay. Raise your hand if you've ever wanted champagne showers.
True.
That's sticky.
Yeah,
And it's like you see them having scenes of just having these fancy meals and fancy food, but in like hidden back alleys. It's like places that aren't necessarily considered fancy, but their food and their drinks are fancy. They're rolling with their crew. It's just, I don't know. It's not direct, but at the same time, I kind of like how intriguing it is. It's like it makes you wonder. And you can't help but be curious about these guys. It's like, okay. And then going hand in hand with the lyrics, as you alluded to also, Angie, is like, Dean sings like, where we're going next we don't know, but we're so criminal.
Yeah.
I mean, the opening line, the very first line from Dean when the song starts, he says, this Rolex I'm wearing has gotten so boring.
Yeah,
It's
right.
they've acquired so much success, and like even if they may be criminals, they know they can't be touched because they're this holy trinity. They can do all the crime they want, it doesn't matter.
So they found the ghetto in Korea. Because I was always wondering where it was, but they found it.
They've created it.
Yeah.
Like, the funny thing is, and Peter can vouch for this too, when it comes to concepts for me overall, and as long as we've been doing this Daebak or not, I'm usually a sucker for music videos and songs being direct enough and being clear with what it is they're trying to convey. With this one, I actually found myself really appreciating how vague it is, like just vague enough.
Oh, yeah.
So I actually ended up giving the concept a kind of high score. I actually gave it a 4.
Wow, that is
because
high.
like it was
Yeah.
enjoyable enough for me. Like it piqued my interest enough. I enjoyed it. I actually found myself kind of loving it.
It's got symbolism.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing to me.
It's got
And also
metaphors.
and also like it probably got double brownie points for me because again, like I said, with the cinematography, being a former film student myself, having studied cinematography, has such an appreciation for it. So yeah, my concept score for this song is a 4.
Nice.
I wonder, like, high school English teachers, like, take note. Like, if you want your students to learn these concepts, just have them, like, break apart a bunch of K-pop music videos.
I have to say that I may have been distracted by the visuals in the music video because I missed like all these references. I was just like, Dean, Crush, Zico, okay. And then I like never got past their faces.
Right.
So I'll have to go back and
I don't think
watch
anyone
it.
will blame you for that.
But since you're talking about the formation, the first thing that came in my mind was, okay, ladies, now let's get in formation. And I think it just kind of ruined it for me. Because I'm just going to picture like Beyonce singing that like as they walk in their triangle, everywhere they
Imagine
go.
them wearing heels. Yeah. So overall, Angie, what would you give it?
I'm sticking with a 3 all around.
So
3,
Daebak?
which is a Daebak if
Okay.
you round up.
Okay.
It's a Daeba. it needs a half a point to get the K.
Okay.
But overall, yeah, Daebak. I like it.
Yep. For me, it's Daebak.
I think we've reached a consensus. Daebak for me.
It's a Daebak song in a slow week.
Yep.
It was a good song. I'm glad we got to review it. All right, that's it for Daebak or Not. Let us know what you want us to review next episode next week. Just let us know. Maybe let's do another quick right around for our Twitter handles. I'm at DJ Peter Lowe.
Angie Valerie.
And Soupermatic, that is SOUP.
세상 사람 모두 네가 대박이야 형님도 대박 언니도 대박 너도 나도 우리 모두 대박이야.
All right, so something that we're looking to try to do for at least this podcast, I think something that we're trying to do to be different and not quite like the Mama Awards is figuring out what funny categories would be rejected for Mama for being too fantastic elastic. So I think for all those sort of like quirky off-brand award categories, we're looking at what was the best of 2016. And we want to hear what you guys think. So we'll start up a poll on our website, spinkpop.net. I think we're probably going to buy another domain name soon. But that's the current domain name, so spinkpop.net, where you can vote on which K-pop groups did the best of any given category for the year 2016. So kicking it off for the first category that we're announcing for this year's Year-End Awards, rejected from Mama. We've got loudest outfit.
Yeah. Peter and I actually deliberated on this and we came up with the category name of loudest outfit. The idea being like just pretty much this ridiculously garish, bright, or like weird mixture of colors for a performance or a concept that a group or artist may have done in K-pop. So, for example, the nominees we have NCT 127 with Fire Truck. We have Icon with their pink camo outfits that they use for this year's Melon Music Awards.
Ugh.
We've got Shiny with their colorful retro 90s concept for One of One. And we've got Luna in her rather not obvious DHL shirt for Free Somebody.
Yeah. I mean, I think I can hear the songs over their outfits.
Right? If anyone is wondering, the whole idea behind Loudest outfit is that there's a joke that goes back a long time where, like, if your outfit is bright, neon, garishly ridiculous enough that if you're trying to talk to someone, they'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you over your outfit.
If you think we missed someone, or you think that there's someone else that you'd like to nominate for this category, just let us know. We'll have a form up on the website where you can nominate others, and we can get that poll running. All right, so the next category we have is most finest, wonderfulest treasure find. So it's WTF. It's like, what the freak did I just watch? So we have a couple in the running right now. So we've got Iren's Butt, which is probably an unseen, under-recognized song, probably for good reason. I'll let you guess what the topic of that song is. And then we also have Coco Story's Exquisite, which I actually liked. All right, so moving on. What's the next category, Soupermatic?
So we have our most fantastic elastic English lyrics. This is a fun category for Peter and I to deliberate on. Basically just examples of the use of the English language in these popular K-pop songs that you will know and love. For example, first nominee, BTS's most recent hit, Blood, Sweat, Tears, Rapmon's Peaches and Cream, Sweeter Than Sweet, Chocolate Cheeks and Chocolate Wings.
I think these lyrics are actually quite poetic.
Right? We've got Blackpink, of course, with their Boombaya hit. Lisa going, brr, Rambo. We've got NCTU in the 7th Sense telling us to open your eyes.
Or open your eyes.
Yep. And then we also have NCT 127, their other unit, with Fire Truck, the whole whoop, 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 Fire Truck. We've got GOT7's Hard Carry towards the end with Mark saying, I just want to blow your mind. I just want to show my mind. I mean, how dynamic it is to rhyme mind with mind, you know?
Rhyming tips.
And then our last nominee, as of right now, is IOI's debut hit, Dream Girls. We are the Dream Girls. Dream Girls.
Again, if we'll see if none of these get any traction, then we won't keep him in the polls and we won't keep him running. But if there are songs you think we missed, just let us know and we'll add them in. So another one that we have, and I think this is what the idea that made us want to have these awards was best use of animal sidekick puppet.
Yep.
So I think the one that immediately comes to my mind and who I'm probably going to be rooting for is the Cran Pop saxophone cat
from Doom Doom Chit, right?
Yeah, that was a really great saxophone cat. I think contesting that is EXO's Dancing King,
Pink Bear MVP.
Yeah.
My vote.
And then right now we also have two from G-Friends. So we have the Poor Grover doll, which is beaten to death in G-Friends Navalera. And follow that by the Poor Stuffed Bear, who's reaching out to a member of G-Friend who leaves him behind.
From the Rough MV.
Yep. Okay, so another category that we noticed that wasn't at Mama was most turned up.
/ our biggest drop.
All right, so in the running we've got Triple T with Born to Be Wild. We've got BTS's Fire. We're being hard carried by GOT7. We are skydiving with BAP. We've got 24K with Bingo. We've got Blackpink with Boombaya. We've got Hyuna asking, how's this? We've got NCT 127 with Fire Truck again. We've got Exit with the awesome hit Lie. We have 4 Minute, another disbanded group this year. But 2016 was good for them with I Hate You. And then we've got Rehab with Amber and Luna riding the wave. Yeah. Quite a lot of nominees for this category. And I think another runner-up that we were thinking of with a lesser-known group was Cheetah in their song My Number. So this next category I really like. I think I am the most excited by this category. And it's the most suggestive and mature, aka S and M. So there was a few. I think we were thinking of. I'm gonna mispronounce her name. Jen Hyo Sung and her boob dance, the "Find Me." IOI's "What a Man, What a Man."
If nothing, just for the outfits.
For the outfits.
How suggestive can you get?
I think Stellar's "Sting" had a lot of nudge, nudge, wink, wink in it. I think it was it Monster X and their song "All In," which had some male fan service.
Yep.
In it. EXID's "Lie." I love all the S&M nudge, nudge, wink, wink puns in that, and of course, Phase Fantasy. How could you not have that? At least for this category. What do you think of this next category, Soupermatic?
It's fun. I love it. So we've got the best JYP intro. As we all know, JYP throughout all of K-pop, he's known for pretty much just saying his name in the introduction of any songs that he's involved in. We've got his own song, Still Alive. We have IOI's most recent hit, Very, Very, Very. There's Triple T again with Born to Be Wild, where he whispers his own name after shouting the name of the other three members. And then we've got the Unis with Shut Up.
It's JYP. So yeah, again, that was the best JYP intro, right? So it's the best introduction to any song with the JYP whisper. I think one that we sort of just came up with right before the show was most pathetic Aegyo, or was helpless Aegyo. Right now we just have AOA's Cream, I'm Jelly Baby.
We'll be adding more nominees.
Yeah, and then lastly, and this is the most cliche category of them all, and I'm sure other websites do this, but it's most Daebak are basically our best category, and that will be looking at all our Daebaks or not from this year. So be sure to look for that. And I'm sure we missed categories, we missed nominees, but we want to hear what you guys have to say.
Yeah.
So be sure to vote in our year-end awards. We'll kick it off at the published date of this episode of the podcast, and we'll close it off on New Year's Eve, so December 31st at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time.
I think you guys should get an award for most interesting K-pop questions on a poll. Because those are fantastic. And I can't wait to vote for my favorites.
Fantastic Alaska. Okay, so thus far for this episode, we talked about a lot of sad things. We found the ghetto in Korea. But now it's time to end on a high, happy, positive note. We even designed this show structure just for this, just so that we can end on a happy thing. So we can end with puppies, kittens, cookies.
Unicorns and rainbows.
Yeah.
Can we call this episode Depression Down a Dark Alley?
Let's
with
do
a
it.
happy ending.
With
A light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay, you guys. I love anything, nudge nudge wink wink S&M. It's K-pop. So we for this category, we're recording this at the end of November, but this will publish, I think, probably December 1st or around then, which means it's time for Christmas. So there is a number of great K-pop songs which have done covers or their own Christmas songs in the K-pop style. So we each chose one K-pop Christmas song that stood out to us. I think we each know of many others, and we'll actually be creating a K-pop Christmas playlist based off of everything we've selected. So I think maybe, Angie, if you want to begin, what song did you choose for your K-pop Christmas? Why did it stand out to you?
Well, this was a really hard category for me because I love EXO. And whenever I think of K-pop Christmas, I picture EXO in those green shirts, looking like a tree. Like set up like to be a tree. And so automatically I think of Miracle in December, which is a beautiful song, but it's so emotional. So I didn't want to go back there for our Christmas Christmas list, especially after all of the depressing news we had today. So a new Christmas song came out just 24 hours ago, and it is Haha with Oh My Girl and M. Tyson. And it's called White Christmas. And have you guys seen this video yet?
Not yet.
I actually haven't.
Oh, so I'm not kidding. It came out like less than 24 hours ago. It's a very new Christmas song. But what I love about this is that it's like a reggae K-pop song.
Oh.
It's got a little reggae in it. It's got a lot of K-pop elements because of Oh My Girl. And it's a happy song. So that makes me happy.
저기 하얀 눈이 내려 저 하늘 모두 내려 우리 서로 닿은 마음 위로 사랑이 내려 살짝 네 가슴에 기대 안겨 먼저 말을 할까 나를 느끼는 너의 모든 걸 사랑해
이제 말할 수 있어 당당
Oh My Girl, they're just so cute. And they're all so pretty. And in this video, they're just sitting there around a Christmas tree opening presents. And it is the happiest thing ever.
The true meaning of Christmas.
Yeah. But it's just sweet overall. And I like, this is a happy Christmas for me. So I'm really digging this. I think it's Haha. He has this line where he's like, I've knitted this sweater all year for you. And I'm like, okay, you did not knit a sweater. But he's like, this sweater is like the warmth of your heart. Oh, cheese. This might be K-pop's cheesiest Christmas song ever.
I think for Christmas it's allowed. You're allowed to layer on the cheese for Christmas.
Hey, if you're allowed the traditional ugly Christmas sweater, then I guess you're allowed to lay on the cheese too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just came out, and it's just a fun and fresh song. And I've heard this before, but I have to ask you guys something.
Mm-hmm.
For Christmas dinner, what's your main protein? Like your family's protein, like the main star of your Christmas dinner?
We usually go with a chicken or a ham.
Okay.
You know, it's funny you say that because it changes every single year.
Oh, wow.
My dad is kind of an iron chef. So, like, some years he'll do, like, a pig, you know, like a roast pig.
Oh.
And he'll even put the apple
Oh, wow.
in the
Nice.
mouth. And so it's usually something exotic with my dad.
Christmas at your house this year. But I mentioned that because I've had a lot. I used to teach English, and my Korean students would always ask me, "Teacher, are you having Christmas turkey at Christmas time?" And I'm like, "Christmas turkey? What is Christmas turkey? It's always Christmas ham."
Yeah.
And I don't know. Actually, I don't eat pork anymore, but I don't know if a Korean Christmas includes turkey more specifically, but they do have a very delicious Christmas turkey in this music video as well. But after Thanksgiving, I'm done with turkey for like the next Thanksgiving.
Right there with you, Angie. Right there with you.
Yeah. But yeah, I've never heard of M. Tyson before, but I guess he does Korean reggae. So check out his stuff. And Haha.
Does he have a tattoo on his face?
Oh, I do remember seeing a lot of weird things actually. Well, unusual for, I haven't dove into the Korean reggae, world before.
Is he into boxing?
You're making the Mike Tyson joke.
That went right over my
Angie, you take me way too seriously.
I'm way too gullible.
By the way, like in the show notes for this episode, like I was making inside jokes, and I was like Park Bomb Zombie, and she's like, Angie being a good student, she Googles it and researches it. So yeah, I'm sorry, Angie.
Now, in the future, if there's something odd in your notes, I'm gonna think it's just a joke, and I won't be able to find it. But yeah, definitely check this out. Reggae, K-pop, Haha, cute girls opening presents, warm fuzzy sweaters, and love. It's a beautiful song.
That's the pagan meaning of Christmas. There, that's a really good pick, Angie. So I will be sure to check that after this recording. I guess I'm next. So I chose Crayon Pop.
Ooh.
And I think a lot of people have mixed feelings about this group. Tina Zoo characterizes it as the OG Helmet Girls. The original Helmet. So this song I thought was a really missed, like underappreciated hit. It was their song "Lonely Christmas," and for me, I just love it just because of the hook.
Ready, go!
I just say la 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 la, and it's just a really fun way. And for me, it's stupid, repetitive in a good way, and it's my guilty pleasure. It's a bunch of small girls wearing helmets, dressed in Christmas trees. The song was great. They even make references to their of course their original hit, Bar Bar Bar. They recycle some of the lines from it. The concept is them, I guess, recording a Christmas music video. I think, if it was made this year, it would have been nominated for the most pathetic aegyo, because it fails to record a music video properly. They knock it over and somehow don't notice as recording their music video throughout the entire the song. But it's great. I recommend it highly just for how catchy it is and how pathetically stupid it is as well. So this song, when I think of Christmas, it may be as an up note. It's saying, hey, you don't worry, be happy. These are lyrics in the song. So don't worry, don't be lonely this Christmas. Be happy, like Grandpop's Lonely Christmas. So that's it for me, Soupermatic.
All right, so I actually went with a personal favorite of mine as well, which is Girls' Generation's TTS, Taeyeon, Tiffany, and Sohyun with Dear Santa.
Aww.
And I actually love this track. It's one of my go-tos whenever this time of year comes around. It's a fairly new song. It came out, I think, only 2 years ago, because it's blonde-haired Taeyeon, which was her era. So.
Yeah.
This is how I remember, when a K-pop music video came out.
Right.
What hair color did they have? So
it also just might be because I'm a Taeyeon fanboy. She's my ultimate bias. Disclaimer out there. So I pay attention to these things.
I always got expectations. I'm hearing sleigh bells right now. They're under that tree. Got a present for me. Santa, he will let me down.
Dear Santa overall is it's definitely a fun Christmas song and music video to me as well. It's funny to me because I remember the very first time that I checked it out, when I was watching the music video and listening to the song at the same time, it starts off with TTS, all three of them kind of looking sad, and they're singing, and the instrumental of the song too. It sounds like it's going to be a more emotional, kind of somber Christmas ballad. And then all of a sudden, Tiffany goes with the typical Girls' Generation fashion. Let's go!
Let's go.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it does the intro, which tricked me into thinking I was about to hear Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas, because it sounds very, very similar, but then it becomes a very happy, very up-tempo and bright, fun Christmas song.
yeah.
And it's interesting to me too, because looking at the lyrics or listening to it, because there's both a Korean version and an English version of the song.
Right.
What TTS is singing about is how they've experienced heartbreak all throughout the year, but now it's Christmas. And they're realizing that even if they're not able to find love, they can still enjoy the spirit of Christmas and be happy, even together. The whole idea of the song and video was that you don't even necessarily need a relationship, as long as you can celebrate Christmas with your two best friends and just act like little kids,
Aww.
be fools,
I'm getting
be
all
silly.
the happy feelings from this Christmas segment.
Right? And the video itself too is really cute and just really fun and simple. You can't help but smile when you're watching it. There's a cute little kid who's reveling in this Christmas card that's supposed to be from Santa. That's an invitation to the North Pole to spend Christmas with him. And then at the end of the video, it's TTS was probably dreaming or imagining this, but then they find that same invitation on the ground. So it's they've been invited by Santa themselves. I mean, the song's called Dear Santa, so it's kind of like they're singing their letters out to Santa and begging Santa to make their Christmas dreams come true. And I guess by the end, that's what they get.
Yeah.
So definitely a great song in itself, and I recommend checking out TTS's overall Christmas album, because it is off of their Christmas album. Every song is great. Dear Santa is my favorite off of it. It definitely captures the Christmas spirit, so that's why I chose it to add to this playlist.
Well, I mean, if you're Santa, right, and you've got Girls' Generation asking you to come down their chimney,
Right? How can you say no to
Yeah.
those three?
yeah. So yeah, I feel like it's one of those songs that you have. What is it? The Christmas.
Oh,
bells.
like yeah.
Yeah. So I think we've checked off all the Christmas cliches at least for this, and I'm sure there are others that we have for this, and we'll create a playlist for this for you K-pop listeners to enjoy Christmas K-pop style. On Spotify, and we'll put this on Google All Access as well. So be sure to check out in those locations. Oh, we'll of course put it up on the blog. It's been kpop.net. And we've got to get a new domain name. But that's what it is right now. And I think that's it for this show. Are going to play Final Fantasy now? Are you guys?
Well, I'm definitely gonna play once I get home.
Okay, cool.
I have some games and binging I'm working on at the same time. So, yeah.
Nice. All right, well, stay tuned for probably next week. I think is when we'll probably record the next episode, probably most likely. I'm at DJ Peter Lowe.
At Angie Valerie.
And Soupermatic, again, that's SOUP.
All right. Tune in next time. Thanks, guys.
Listen, boy, my first love story. I'm Angel, and my girls, my sunshine. 버리고 다 손들어 난 이제 손을 높이 들자 그게 되는 사람 어느 승자 함께 놀자 혼자 있는 사람 모두 빨리 부르자 이 답답한 도시에서 벗어나자 박자에 맞춰 모두 다 우리는 우리 곁으로 탈출한 타자 I wanna rock your body 오늘 하루는 잠시 미쳐봐 우리 뜨거워진 때까지 뛰어봐 우리 만나면 나의 손 부딪혀보자 오늘 하루는 잠시 미리 미쳐봐 욕심 따위는 모두 잊어봐 우리 신나면 왕나의 끝장이야 모두 준비됐어 박수쳐 박수쳐 모두 손을 올리고자 하늘에게 말을 걸어봐 박수쳐 박수쳐 이제부터 시작이야 자 숨겨질 때 모두 산을 타자 30분 뒤에 정상에서 만나 내가 제인이라면 난 타장 가자 전날 보내주는 행에 탈출하자